Hey guys, and welcome. This is episode, I believe, 17 of my Out of the Park Baseball 21 series with the expansion DuPage Pistol Shrimp. We are in the year 2028. It's taken us 8 years to get. We're in our 8th season trying to win it all. If you look quickly at our history, really quick improvement, 63 and 99 in our first year, 77 wins, 75 wins in years 2 and 3. And then we have been a juggernaut, at least during the regular season, the last 5 years, averaging 100 wins a season over the last 5 years exactly. We finished this year 99 and 63. And let's take a look at how we got there. So offensively, we were really a wrecking crew. Up and down the lineup. Start with Ronald Acuna Jr., who we will likely only have for this one season, as he's asking for $40 million a year, but he just had a crazy good season. 7 WAR, 965 OPS, hit 48 home runs, knocked in 121, scored 123 times. He was just an animal. And I think defensively he played pretty well too. Yeah, defensively he was just below average in center field, but that's fine. I think we're playing him out of position a little bit at this point in his career. He's probably better served as a right fielder, but we didn't have a better option. So he was an MVP candidate. Our other MVP candidate is now 28-year-old Darian Perez, who just continues to knock the snot out of the ball in his career. You can see his career stats down here. Career highs in home runs, RBIs, walks. Just another great season for our left fielder. 49 home runs, walked 105 times, put up almost a 400 on-base percentage. You don't get much better than that at the top of the lineup. Alex Padilla, I expected to play well. I didn't expect him to play this well. We moved on from Lewin Diaz and called up the 23-year-old Padilla at the end of the season, and all he did was hit 329, 357, 555, 32 home runs, 52 doubles, 122 runs knocked in. He was the perfect number 3 hitter for us. If you look at his ratings, and he's just... With the bat, there are few that are better than Mr. Padilla. Just an unbelievable first season. Another one of our rookies, David Del Rio, put up a 4.3 WAR at second base. It looks like everything locked up. There we go. He got better and better and better as the year went on. If you look at his splits, 271, then he had 359 in May, 304 in June, 354 in July, 376 in August. He leveled off a little bit in September, but all in all, you can't ask for anything more than this out of a 21-year-old middle infielder. 44 doubles, 505 slugging, 4.3 WAR. He was phenomenal. How'd he do at second? And played really, really well at second base as well. So we have ourselves a star in David Del Rio at second. Moving on, Caden Wallace had a career year for him. 289, 353, 533, 886 OPS, 3.7 WAR, 21 home runs in 108 games. He really filled out that lineup nicely and gave us that right-handed bat that we needed because we are still very left-handed heavy. Hector Flores moved into the starting lineup after we traded Bob Ray. And he was really good as well. 880 OPS, 3.5 WAR there, 39 doubles and 103 starts, 15 home runs. I mean, he was great too. So up and down the lineup, we just had studs. Walt Hart came on towards the end of the season, 37 home runs, 933 OPS. He's the perfect designated hitter. Can't really field, but can rip the cover off the ball when needed. So Richard Urena played multiple positions and really had a pretty solid season for us. 2.4 WAR, 77 OPS, and can play all 3 middle infield positions, and he played them all pretty well. Shortstop, he was not great, but second base and third base, he played pretty well. So very, very valuable season out of Richard Urena. I'm glad we re-signed him. Bo Naylor had a bit of a down season compared to what he had done recently, which is a shame since we just signed him to a big contract. Lost about 150 points off of his OPS. His average was down about 50 points. Slugging percentage was down over 100. So hope for a bounce back season next year out of Naylor. Jake Rogers is what he is. Noel V. Marte went to the bench and didn't play much the second half of the season. Most of his playing time went to Jeremy Bonner. I had said that really all I wanted was for Bonner to hit 200, and that would sort of even things out, and he did. He ended up hitting 200 with a positive zone rating, really improved our infield defense. And then Mike Taylor, was what he was. Pitching-wise, again, pitching this year was a little off, and I'm not sure why. Hoping that it was just a combination of a bunch of people having down years at once. But, you can tell just by looking at the WARs that it wasn't a great season. Kyle Bradish, after coming over from Cincinnati, wasn't very good. 3-5, 4.95 ERA. All in all, he had a decent season, record notwithstanding. Jose Corniel was 7-2 with a 4.02 ERA with us. For the year, 15-6, 3.85 ERA, 3.91 FIP. So he pitched right in line with his ERA. Struck out 200 batters in 173 innings. Sean Cervantes had a nice season for us. This is pretty much what he is. He's going to settle into that 10 to 15 wins. Going to put up about a 4 ERA, which is got a ton of value in the American League. Pitched 200 innings for us. Logan Gilbert was bad. After coming over, he was 9-6, but with a 5.56 ERA, actually posted negative half a WAR on the season. Then Kenneth Cantanilla was our other starter, and he was up and down. He switched time with J.D. Thompson, and neither of them were great, but Quintanilla was better. From a relief perspective, we had 4 pitchers that were good, and then the rest were not so good. Alvarez, Knorr, McKelvey, and Gautier were solid, and then Owens, Yap were not good. You can see Bobby Knorr, we made him the closer, and he came on strong towards the end of the season. We made McKelvey the stopper, and he pitched really well. He's out for the next few days, but he should be back by the time the postseason starts. So we're going to have to do with our offense this year, which is unusual for us. Usually we are a defense-first team. So yeah, we're going to get on to the postseason here and see who we're going to be playing. All right, we're back. It is the ALDS, and we're going to be taking on a new team that we haven't seen much in the postseason in this save, the Detroit Tigers. Let's take a look at the Tigers real quick and see what we're up against. So Tigers finished 91-71, second place, 8 games behind us. Pretty solid offense. If you look, number 1 in the American League in home runs. Pitching staff was okay, middle of the road, and then they're poor defensively. Offensively, you can see, they got a couple of studs here. Thomas Gavello, wow. He's really good. 27-year-old still on a minimum contract. That's crazy, that kind of value on a minimum contract. 5.7 WAR out of him. Josh Beckler, batting 8th, hit 40 home runs. And then they had Green, Pacheco, Russell, Suarez, Brown, all hit more than 20. So pretty solid offense. Pitching-wise, they're led by Eric Hall, who was 19-6. Struck out 205 batters this season. The rest of their pitching staff is okay. Spencer Schwellenbach had a good ERA, poor record. Matt Whistler's nothing great. And John Duplantier had a really nice record, but his ratings are kind of below average. Austin Warren is their closer. Chris Slater, number 7 prospect in all of baseball. It looks like he got some limited playing time this year. Wow, he looks good too. Limited playing time this year and was pretty effective in those games. So so that's where we stand with the Tigers. So we're going to go ahead and move on to the ALDS and see what we can do. So game 1 is Matt Whistler against Jose Corniel. All right, sorry about that. And let's see what happens. Game 1. We lose 6-5. Of course we do. Whistler beat Corniel. Suarez, Pacheco homered. I don't know why that's there. Those are bugs, obviously, but Perez homered for us, and we're down 1-0. We were down 6-1 after 2 innings. We tried to claw our way back into it, but couldn't come all the way back. Cornell didn't make it out of the second inning. That's no good. Owens, Gautier, and Knorr pitched really well out of the pen for us. But all in all, a bad start to the American League Champion or the American League Division Series. Let's move on to Game 2. John Duplantier against Sui-Shan Yu, who's back from injury. Oh, it looks like we're going to throw Cervantes in Game 2. That's fine. Our 16-game winner. And we win that one to tie the series at 1. We win 6-3. Suarez homered for them. Gavello. And then for us, Hector Flores went yard twice. Flores with a nice game, 2 for 4, 4 runs knocked in. Perez, 2 runs and 2 hits, 2 runs and an RBI. Cervantes went 7, and our bullpen was really good again. So far so good out of the bullpen. But that first start was kind of rough. So let's move on to Game 3, which will be in Detroit. And we'll be facing their ace in that one, so that's going to be a toughie. All right, Game 3, Sui-Shan Yu against Eric Hall in Detroit. And we now trail 2 games to 1 as we get hammered 12-4. Seems to be a pattern for us as we get into the postseason. Things just start to fall apart. Again, the Tigers score 6 runs in the first. Yu doesn't make it out of the first inning. And the bullpen can't do what they did in their other games. So Naylor homered, Acuna with a couple of hits. Green went 5 for 6. All right, so we got to win back-to-back games here in the ALDS to keep ourselves from being knocked out once again. All right, and if we're going to get it done, it's going to be with our 2 imports, Logan Gilbert and Jose Corniel. So let's see what happens in Game 4. Can we extend our season? No, we cannot. Wow, another 99-win season down the drain as we get shut out in this one. So in this one, even our offense couldn't come through. We got 3 hit. Schwellenbach was dominant. Gilbert wasn't terrible, but he wasn't very good either. And yeah, that's going to end our season. It's unbelievable. All right, so yeah, I guess we'll do the off season now. I wasn't planning on ending it after 1 series, but it is what it is. So we're gonna have we got a little bit of money, so I mean we aren't gonna be up against it. But we are gonna have some decisions to make. I would love to bring Acuna back, but he just wants so much money. We'll probably offer him arbitration and see, or the qualifying offer rather. And if he takes it, well, he won't take it. But if he signs somewhere, we'll get a draft pick. But yeah, we're gonna have some decisions to make here with some of our players, and that's disappointing. That's really disappointing. Look at Louis Patino. We're going to be paying him $1.5 million for the next 5 seasons. He wasn't very good, so at least there's that, I guess. All right, so when we come back, it will be the end of the regular season, and then we'll start to plan our offseason. Hang tight. All right, guys, we are back. Sorry about that. I had to step away, and then I actually went ahead and I simmed ahead to the Rule 5. I made what amounted to a pretty substantial 3-team deal. I'm not really sure that I made the right move here, but ultimately, it was the right move for us. So let's look at, where am I going? Trade log. All right, so we had talked about wanting to move on from Logan Gilbert and Haifeng Yap due to their salaries and their lack of production. So we sent them both to Cincinnati in exchange for Tyler Callahan. Logan, I mean, he led the American League in BABIP, which means his numbers should have been the other way around, but he wasn't good. Posted an ERA plus of 86. He was negative half a WAR in 22 starts. Just wasn't good, and I wasn't going to pay him $11 million to be that bad. We also sent Haifeng Yap, who had started to regress, and he's continuing to regress a little bit here. And they're both at or on the wrong side of 30. And we got back Tyler Callahan, who is a 28-year-old power hitting shortstop. Very, very good defender, good power, good speed. And we turned around and we traded Tyler Callahan. You can see he's now on the Twins. We traded him to the Twins along with Kyle Bradish in exchange for Royce Lewis. So in the end, we sent Bradish to Minnesota. We sent Yap and Gilbert to Cincinnati. Cincinnati sent Callahan to Minnesota, and we get Royce Lewis. Callahan would have been fine in our lineup, except he was left-handed, and we're super left-handed. So we picked up Royce Lewis, who is a righty, and you can see good gap power, good shortstop, good speed, fan favorite. Put up 4.5 WAR last year. He's put up really solid numbers every year. He's not a superstar, but he's put up really solid numbers every season. His contract is up at the end of this year, so it's very possible that this is a one-year thing for us. Oh, maybe. I mean, he only wants $18 million, so it's a possibility that we could bring him back. But that evens out our lineup a little bit, gets another right-handed bat in there with some good contact and some good gap power. So again, we send Yap and Gilbert to Cincinnati. We send Bradish to Minnesota. Cincinnati sends Callahan to Minnesota, and we get Royce Lewis. So that's how that all worked out. The other thing is we did decide to pull the trigger on Ronald Acuna. It was $40 million a year, but it was for only 4 seasons, 4 years at $40 million. So hopefully he ages gracefully, and that won't be too terrible. But now our lineup has another really solid right-handed bat in it in Royce Lewis. So that evens things out a little bit for us against lefties, which I like. Now, other than that, all we really need, I think, is a backup catcher. Our pitching rotation is pretty set. I think this is what we're going to go with starting next season. We've got Quintanilla and Jansen kind of in the wings if either of these guys struggle. The top 4 in our bullpen is very, very good in Noor, McKelvey, Alvarez, and Gautier. And Noor is almost at his peak. He's going to be just a monster for the next decade. Ian McKelvey still has some room to grow, but was really, really good last year. Cesar Alvarez was really good. DJ Gautier was really good. So we don't really need anything else in the pen. We might wait another month to see if we can get a solid bullpen piece cheap. But for now, let's just do the Rule 5. I think I'm going to look for a catcher. See if we can find a good defensive catcher in that. I don't want to lose anybody, so let's look at our. I think there's anybody necessarily. I mean, we'll put Brito there because he's still only 21. Yeah, there's nobody here that we need to necessarily worry about. Okay, good. Let's continue the draft. Pick until our pick. Let's see what we got. Do we have any catchers? This is exactly what I'm looking for. He can probably hit enough, but he is an elite defensive catcher. And that's what we're looking for. So Alfredo Fuentes, you are going to be our backup. He is a righty as well, yes. So we can play against lefties. We are going to draft Alfredo Fuentes, and we'll call it a draft. So yeah, I think we're pretty well. This is gonna be a pretty quick off season. Not a whole lot going on. Um, we made the one big deal to improve, to upgrade at shortstop. We re-signed Acuna, and then we signed drafted a backup catcher in the Rule 5 draft. So I think at this point, no, he was in the Rule 5, huh? Okay. So at this point, I think I'm going to just sim ahead to opening day. Again, I'll keep an eye out on the trade block and the free agents to see if there are any relief arms that are available as we get closer to the start of the regular season. See if we can pick up one more bullpen arm, maybe. Maybe get a lefty to go in there. And yeah, so that's going to be that. And I'll talk to y'all at opening day. All right, guys, it is just about opening day. It was not a great spring training. We suffered a couple of pretty significant injuries, which are going to hurt us. You can see Suishan Yu is out for the next 3 or 4 months with an elbow issue, and Caden Wallace is out for 3 months with an elbow issue. So, yeah, that's a bit of a problem. Yeah, no other way to put it. It's a bit of a problem. So the first thing we need to do is cut our roster back and then figure out what we want to do from there. So let's look at pitching ratings. Pitching ratings. All right, so who are we going to send down? 1, 2, 3. That might be all we have to send down. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to send them all down. Yeah, Ramirez is going to have to be DFA'd. So we don't actually have 14 pitchers. We have 12. Because Flores and Mitchell are both two-way players. So we have 12, so that's fine. And then, so that means we need to send down, 3 batters? Wong, Celedonio, and Villalobos. And I can't send 2 of them down. All right, that's fine. Not concerned about losing these guys. So that gives us our 26-man roster. So let's set our pitching staff first. On our pitching staff, we're going to have some issues, I think. That wasn't anticipated, but it is what it is at this point. So we're going to go Corniel, Cervantes, Thompson, Soto, and Owens. I have to hope that my bullpen is pretty elite, because otherwise it's going to be an issue. So we're going to go with Nor as... do we want to do a stopper this year? I think we do Nor as a stopper and closer. Then we go McKelvey as setup and closer, and that way if one's tired, the other one can pitch. And he's going to come in. I want Nor pitching as much as possible. So he's going to be middle relief, used more often. Alvarez is going to be setup and middle relief. And then I like to do this because it kind of resets everything for me. So then we're going to go McRae as middle relief. Jansen as long relief. Quintanilla as emergency starting pitcher and long relief. Jansen will be middle. I think we'll do that. And then Flores... Just get kind of a reverse split, which is a little weird, but that's fine. So he can be middle relief, avoid high leverage, and Mitchell can be our specialist. Yeah, that works. Okay. We need to get you back. Once we get you back, we can move Soda, or we can move Owens back into the bullpen. But for now, Phil Owens is going to be our number 5. So our pitching staff is not looking great. We're a little bit thinner than I had anticipated, but we'll get by. We have some depth that we can trade to pick up another pitcher if we want to. There's some people here I would rather not move, but there are some players here that are definitely tradable. Wow, Grabowski's gotten good. Let's go ahead and disable promotion, and let's send him to high A. He'll skip regular A ball, I think. Nava and Pichardo can both come in here. These guys aren't quite ready yet. Anybody else we want to move around? Right, we should call up to high A as well. Those guys will just have to figure it out there. Make rarity. He'll go to double A. Ramirez, disable. He'll go to triple A. All right, so now we have to set our lineup. Clear all lineups, clear all depth charts. All right, so against right-handers, batting ratings, it's pretty easy. We go Perez leading off, Flores batting number 2, Padilla batting number 3, Acuna batting 4. We're going to go Del Rio batting 5th, Lewis batting 6th. Oh no, Hart's going to bat 5th. Del Rio's going to bat 7th. Hart's our DH, right? Guys, contact's down to a 34. I don't know how good of a year this is going to be for Walt Hart. We will see, though. Urena will bat 8th, and Naylor will bat 9th. So our pitching staff is a little rough, but our lineup is just rock solid. So we will copy that. Paste this in here. We'll remove Hart. We'll move Del Rio up. Move everybody up 1. Fuentes is going to start every 7th game. I want Naylor in there for most of the starts against righties. We'll paste the lineup in here again, and we'll make a couple changes. So Fuentes will come in. Actually, that might be the only change we make. Hart probably needs to... Yeah, Hart needs to come out against lefties, but I don't really have anybody else that I can play. Is Taylor the guy? Oops. Yeah, it looks like Mike Taylor's probably our DH against lefties. And through that. And no. Let's do that. So I may need another bat here. I never would have thought that, but we may need another bat. Might be a little better once we get... Actually, once we get Caden Wallace back, we can put Urena in at DH if we need to. So I think we're pretty set. Our lineup against lefties against righties is pretty damn formidable. Against lefties, it's not great. Brito needs to go down. I need to call somebody else up. I need to call a different bat up for the time being. Price is also a lefty, right? Yeah, he's a lefty. Ramirez is a lefty. All my hitters are lefties, so I don't want to call any of those guys up just yet. Yeah, he's not ready. None of these guys. I mean, Price is probably the closest thing to being ready, but I don't really need... Whatever, we'll call him up. He's the bat that's closest to being ready, so... Alright, so that is our lineup. That is our depth chart. Let's player development. Anything of note here? Suishan 2 got a little bit better. Del Rio, his ratings got better, but his actual batting ratings didn't get better. He went up in terms of stars, but that was about it. That's about it. All right, so let's go ahead and delete that. Let's sim ahead a day. Take a look at where everything ended, and then we will call it an episode. All right, so they expect us to make playoffs. That's fine. Prospect list, we have nobody. Let's see where we rank. We should be pretty good. Yeah, we're 5th. Soto, Nava, Stamp, David Stamp was our number 3 pick a year ago. He was actually, I believe, a pitcher that we converted. David Stamp, Briarity, who is coming along slowly, and then Pichardo, who is a 17-year-old in the rookie leagues. He looks really good, too. So we have some solid players making their way up. We need a big year out of Soto right off the bat. We are shorthanded in the world of pitching. Looks like there are plenty of players available on the market, so it may be something I dive into early to see if we can pick somebody up to help. Braxton Garrett's on here. Yeah, so I may spend some time here early on trying to find a pitcher to fill that 5 hole. And just give ourselves a little bit more depth in the rotation. I'm a little concerned with the way things are laid out right now. So we'll give it a few go-throughs through the rotation, and we'll see what happens. But if I have to make a trade before the end of April, I will. I don't normally make trades that early in the season, but there are some decent names here, some players that could help us, and I don't think any of them will cost too much. So that's something I will keep an eye on. So that's going to do it for this one. So as always, leave a like, subscribe, let me know your thoughts, and until we talk again, everybody take care. Bye-bye.